Hello, and in today's video we're doing a rapid fire EFL Championship match week number 4 predictions video. That's right, for the 2023-24 season we're back with some EFL Championship predictions after last week Watford with a really disappointing performance at the Bet365 Stadium at the rainy night in Stoke. It wasn't quite night and it wasn't quite rainy, but it was metaphorically for Watford because it was a poor performance. And after what we'd had a really positive start to the season with some great performances under the new coach, Valérien Ismaël, we actually have an identity back. We have a style of play back. We're playing attacking football. And we've got a much better mentality in that dressing room and on the training pitch, much better in terms of intensity and belief and togetherness. But then against Stoke, it all kind of fell apart, really. Not enough chances against Stoke, not enough penetration in our attack, and ultimately a bit of a sloppy goal to concede. As much as it was a great finish from Andre Vidigal, it really should not have gone all the way past all of our defenders and just got to the striker for Stoke. I mean, it's a great finish at the end of it, but it should never have got that far. I had a feeling he would score. I regret to say that last week I did bring in Vidigal, not because of the fact he was playing Watford. We always seem to concede against players' talisman, and I just had a feeling that he was going to score against us. I was hoping it would be a Watford win, but it was unfortunately not, and Vidigal did score. So real shame. We hope to bounce back this weekend though against the Blackburn Rover side that just lost against Hull City. Talking of Hull City, they've got the first game tonight at 7:30 against Bristol City. But before we do get into my Week 4 predictions, let me just run you through how I got on in match day number 3 of the EFL Championship. And we're also going to quickly show you this video, my Gaffer Fantasy Championship team for match week 4. So in game week 3, I should say, of the Championship, we went for a 2-1 lead against West Brom. Well, that was wrong. It was a 1-1, so no points to me there. Then I said 3-2 Southampton away to Plymouth. Well, it was a thriller, absolute thriller, but Southampton didn't win 3-2 instead. I think it ended up being 2-1, if I remember rightly. But Southampton by the odd goal, so therefore correct goal difference, 5 points. We take that. We also said 1-0 Sunderland against Rotherham. It was a Sunderland victory by 1 goal, but not 1-0. So again, 5 points, not too shabby at all. Then we had the game between Blackburn and Hull. I fancied a draw in this one, but it ended up being, in the end, a defeat for Blackburn, and Hull snatched the victory there, so no points for me there. Then Bristol City taking on Birmingham City. Now that was, of course, I said a 2-1 Birmingham away win. That did happen, Birmingham to win the game, but it was not 2-1 in the end. Then we have a game against Huddersfield for Middlesbrough at the Riverside, and I went for a fairly comfortable Middlesbrough 3-1 win, but no, Middlesbrough did not win, and yeah, it keeps surprising me how underwhelming they've been this season, so no points for me there. Then I said a 3-1 Leicester City win against Cardiff City, and that was the correct result at least, but not the correct scoreline. Leicester winning that game though still, so 3 points for me. Then I said a 2-0 away win for Ipswich against QPR, and Ipswich did in fact get the 3 points, but it was not 2-0 in the end, just the 1 goal for Ipswich. But what a run they've been on. They're doing so well under the management of Kieran McKenna, and you just got to, raise your glass to that guy because he's been absolutely brilliant for them. We also had Sheffield Wednesday against Preston North End, and I went for a Preston defeat, funnily enough. I thought Sheffield Wednesday, this would be their game to bounce back from their tricky start, but no, the pain goes on for for Sheffield Wednesday. Preston with the victory, 1-0 away from home. So I got this 1-0 wrong way round. It's unfortunate. So no points for me there. And the Ipswich game, I only got the 3 points. The Leicester game, only the 3 points. So, at this point, I'm thinking, am I even going to get a correct scoreline here? Then we move to the Stoke-Watford game. And because how well we'd been playing the previous 2 games, even if we didn't score against Plymouth, I thought, we'll take it into our first away league game of the season and win. But as I said, it was really disappointing. Vidigal with the goal, 1-0 Stoke, and no Watford goal yet again. So that's 2 games on the run now. We've not scored. I mean, at least with the Plymouth game, you could take the performance from that, and maybe another 20 minutes we'd have scored against Plymouth, but against Stoke we just didn't look like scoring. And Martins had 1 shot that was fairly comfortable for the keeper to save. It was just not a great performance, and I hope that we are much, much better on Sunday against Blackburn, but we can't be this reliant on home games. We've got to show that ability to win games away from home as well. So yeah, no points for me in that prediction, 3-1 away. Then 3-0 away is what I thought for Coventry against Swansea, and that was a bit of a surprising result in the end, actually, because I fully expected that would be the way the game would go, Coventry to win the game, but no, that's not what happened. I'm pretty sure that was a draw. So, yeah, no points for me again. So this is not going well this week. And then finally we had Norwich against Millwall on the Sunday. I went for a 2-1 Norwich. It ended up being 3-1 Norwich. So, again, correct result, but not the correct scoreline. So, 3 points. So that ends me on 22 for game week 3. Not bad. Not my best, to be honest. So I'm hoping for much better in match week number 4. Before we do quickly go into that, I'm just going to check if we had any comments from the last video of your predictions for match week number 3 in the Championship. So let me just have a little look at some of your picks. So we had Colm, who said Leeds 1, West Brom 1. Well, fair play, Colm, bang on the money. Very, very impressive. He did actually then put underneath, I know it's after the said match, but I have no idea of the score, as you will see from my guess. Yeah, mate, I'm not falling for that one, mate. So, unlucky. I think you'll find you probably saw the score. But, you know, maybe you didn't. Maybe it's a weird coincidence, but it seems very, very coincidental. 3-1 away, Southampton is what you went for, so not quite there, but correct result. Sunderland 2-1 against Rotherham. You know, that's a decent prediction, but ultimately it was, solid enough there. Blackburn against Hull. 2-1 Blackburn, then that was obviously, fair enough, the wrong way around, 2-1, but close. Bristol 3-2 against Birmingham, so that's quite an interesting prediction there. But Birmingham, of course, got the victory in the end, if I'm not mistaken. I think they did, yep. Then we had Middlesbrough against Huddersfield. You went with 1-0 Middlesbrough, as I'm probably sure most people went with the Middlesbrough win, but no, nothing there. You said 3-1 to Leicester against Cardiff, just as I did, but again, it wasn't 3-1, it was not that score, but Leicester did get the victory. 3-1 Ipswich you went for. It was in fact 1-0 Ipswich, so correct result. You went for a 1-1 draw Sheffield Wednesday Preston, so nothing there for you. You said 2-2 Stoke Watford. Not a 4-goal thriller, I'm afraid, just the 1 goal, so not the correct result there. You said 3-1 Coventry away to Swansea, and as I say, a bit of a shock result that, Swansea getting a point, I think, from that, so incorrect there. And then again, you went 2-0 Norwich against Millwall, so correct goal difference there, because it was 3-1, so difference of 2, but no correct scoreline. Still decent enough, though, from Colm, so thanks for your predictions. And then also last week we had a prediction set from Douglas, the Dugout Football Channel. Thanks again for your comments. You went for a 2-1 Leeds against West Brom, so just like I did, but no, it was 1-1 in the end. Plymouth Southampton, you went with a draw. Southampton got the victory. You went for a 2-0 Blackburn against Hull. Now, obviously that was a bit of a shock result, but Hull did win the game, so wrong there. 2-0 Bristol City against Birmingham, again wrong. Leicester against Cardiff, you did get a 5-1 Leicester, which is pretty optimistic, which maybe is, a bit too much, but ultimately Leicester did get the win, so correct result. Then you said a 1-0 Middlesbrough, again, wrong. Somehow Middlesbrough didn't win that game. And then we also had QPR Ipswich. You went for a 2-1 away, so correct goal difference there. That was just a 1-goal margin. Sheffield Wednesday, you went for a 2-1 victory, so you also backed Sheffield Wednesday like I did. And we had egg on our face, unfortunately, when Preston won that game. You also said Stoke 1, Watford 0. So fair play, Douglas. Bang on the money with the Watford game. Stoke 1-0. You know what they say, it's always a tough place to go, Stoke, on a rainy night in Stoke or whatever they call it. So, yeah, again, it wasn't rainy, it wasn't a night, but, you get the gist. It's not an easy place to go sometimes. Last season, Stoke weren't brilliant, but this season they've actually started quite well. Sunderland, Rotherham, 2-0 Sunderland is what you went for, so decent prediction that, I've got to say, because Sunderland did get the victory, but no correct scoring, I'm afraid. Then 3-0 Coventry, again, also went for this, so we got some common themes here, but no, Swansea did in fact get the point. And then finally, you went for 3-1 Norwich against Millwall. Bang on the money. So it's got to be said, Douglas has won this week with a couple of correct scores in there. Very impressive stuff. Well done to Douglas. Right, let's move into match week number 4 then, quickly. And we've got Hull against Bristol City to start things off on the Friday Night Football at the KCOM Stadium. Now, obviously, Hull, good win against Blackburn. I did not see that coming last week, so fair play to them. I think Bristol City, interesting. I mean, look, the way I look at it is, they did lose last week against Birmingham. But does that mean that I think Bristol City lose this one again? I don't think so. I think Hull are a bit up and down. Sometimes they can be good, sometimes they can be a bit bad. So I'm going to go for a draw here on opening day. The first night, I should say, of match week 4, not opening day. But I'll say 1-1 in this one. Okay, next up, after that Hull game, it is Birmingham City against Plymouth Argyle. Now, Birmingham obviously with a late victory last week against Bristol City, and Plymouth obviously they've done quite well, to be honest, in the Championship since they've got promoted. They were unlucky, I think, against Southampton to just not quite hold on. But ultimately, yeah, this is an interesting game. The way I look at it is that Birmingham City, with the home advantage, might just fancy this, especially with winning run from the last game. So I'll say Birmingham 1, Plymouth 0. But I do feel that Plymouth will really give it a go. So yeah, just the one goal in that one. That's the first game of the Saturday fixtures. Next game is Cardiff against Sheffield Wednesday. Now for this one, I do believe that Cardiff will get the victory, and I do worry for Xisco Munoz because they've not had a good start to the season. I mean, it's a bit of a relegation rumble, this one, but I just feel that with a home advantage, Sheffield Wednesday keep conceding. It's not looking good for them, but I'll say a narrow 2-1 Cardiff win against Sheffield Wednesday. Okay, next up, we've got the game between Coventry and Sunderland. Now, you'll of course remember that these were two teams that finished in the playoffs last season. Sunderland obviously getting knocked out by Luton, who went on to be in the Premier League. Coventry getting knocked out by Middlesbrough, who then ended up. I should have said Coventry beat Middlesbrough and then lost to Luton in the final. So yeah, they're kind of hoping for good seasons yet again, these two teams. I mean, Sunderland have not started the season as they would have planned. But Coventry haven't been the perfect team either, so it's not one of these games that's going to be easy to predict, I don't think. Coventry obviously last week was a bit, I don't know how to put this, underwhelming against away to Swansea. Not terrible, but underwhelming. I thought they'd win that game, but Sunderland did of course get the win, so I think Sunderland can take a point from Coventry, although it won't be an easy one for them. Coventry 2, Sunderland 2, and then next up we've got the game between Huddersfield and Norwich. Now, for this one, I do feel this is going to be fairly comfortable for Norwich because I know that Huddersfield, have not been too bad, but Norwich have actually started the season quite well, and Huddersfield defensively have still got problems. So I think this one will end Huddersfield Town 0, Norwich City 2. Then we've got a game between Ipswich and Leeds. Now, Leeds, Daniel Farke is already under pressure in that role because it's a big club, Leeds United. They want to get them back to the Premier League, but it's not exactly gone to plan for them. They've been dropping a lot of points, and they're facing an Ipswich side who are top of the league and are looking really good. So I think this might be a bit of a banana skin for Leeds, and I think Leeds will get beaten here. Ipswich, I should say, the other East Anglian team. Ipswich 2, Leeds 1. That's what we're going to go for that one. So moving on swiftly, we've got the game between Millwall and Stoke. Now, Stoke obviously got the win, decent performance against us last time out. Millwall, on the other hand, well, I never quite know what to think with Millwall, but they did lose 3-1 last week, so I'm just going to side towards Stoke after that winning feeling. I'll say Millwall 1, Stoke 2. Okay, next up, we've got the game between Preston and Swansea. Now, I do feel this will be a low-scoring game. Swansea have not been amazing this season, but they've been okay. Preston, on the other hand, they do struggle for goals, but they've got the odd win here or there, so I think this could be a tight one. I'm going to say Preston 0, Swansea 1. Just the only goal coming for Swansea late on, I reckon. But they would absolutely take that result, to be honest. Okay, next up, we've got the game between Rotherham United and Leicester. Now, I do feel this being a bit of a mismatch. Rotherham haven't been brilliant defensively. Leicester are near the top of the table. They're doing well. They've got an amazing squad for the Championship, depending on how many players they keep ahead of the window, which closes in about a week's time. So I think Leicester will do very well this season, and these kind of games they have to be fairly comfortable in. Rotherham 0, Leicester 3. Then it's Southampton v QPR. Now, this is a bit of a nostalgia game because they've not faced each other for a long time. I remember when they were playing each other in the Premier League and you had the likes of Charlie Austin do well in this fixture. But that feels like an age ago. I do feel, though, Southampton have got a good chance of, automatic or maybe even playoffs this season under Russell Martin. Although Martin's not got promotion yet as a Championship manager, I think he's a decent coach and they've got a very decent squad with the likes of Nathan Tella and Adam Armstrong, etc. So QPR, I know they did pick up a result recently, but I do feel that they are still defensively a bit all over the place, and Gareth Ainsworth needs to sort out that team. So I still feel Southampton win this. I'm going to go Southampton 3, QPR 0. So that's what we're saying for the penultimate few games. And then after that one, we've got the game between West Brom and Middlesbrough. This should be a fascinating one, I think, because as I mentioned before, really Middlesbrough have been quite underwhelming this season. I thought they would do a lot better, especially their new goalkeeper, Seny Dieng, who came from QPR. It's just not gone to plan for Middlesbrough, and they need to do better. And this is the opportunity to do just that. West Brom, I've not been overly impressed by West Brom, to be honest. And, you know, they did obviously get the point away to Leeds, which was a decent result, but I'm not too sure about West Brom. So I think West Brom will lose this one, but I think it'll be very tight. West Brom 0, Middlesbrough 1. And then finally, we've got the one we've all been waiting for, the biggie, the one that only matters, the only game on TV at the weekend. There is a game on the Friday night, but, you know, it's not technically the weekend yet. But no, the Sunday kickoff at 12 o'clock. Weird time for a kickoff, but, you know, we'll roll with it. TV selection and all that on Sky Sports. Under the lights, it is Watford against Blackburn. Now, I do feel this will be not an easy game for sure, because Blackburn have got a lot of good quality players that can hurt you. So, good manager as well. I think Jon Dahl Tomasson is very, very experienced at this level. And they have lost Bradley Dack. They have lost Ben Brereton Diaz. Those are some big misses for them. But they've still got decent players regardless of that. So I'm not too confident, based on the performance we showed against Stoke, that we can necessarily blow back Blackburn away. But I'm just hoping we scrape the victory. We've been quite good at home so far this season. Unbeaten so far and yet to concede at home. But I hope we can carry that on. I'll go for Watford 2, Blackburn Rovers 0. And goal scorers for Watford, we're hoping the absolute limbs if this was true. But we have just signed new striker that really is getting the pulses racing. And I can tell you, in fact, that new striker has a lot of experience, has played for Denmark at points in his career, or at least maybe he was born in Denmark, but played in Sweden, right? Who am I talking about? Well, don't worry, I will reveal all. I'm talking about the legend that is Mileta Rajovic. I'm telling you, this guy, he could be decent. I've looked at his stats, I've looked at some of his highlights. He looks nice. And, you know, we've saw that with Chakvedadze. He's fit right in on that left-hand side. I mean, he hasn't played loads of minutes, but when he's come on, he's looked really threatening. And, you know, we have got a few injuries, like the likes of Ciarauta, a bit of a late fitness test for this one. We'll have to see who's fit. But Tom Ince hopefully could get a start in this game. I think he was possibly in the squad. Maybe he just missed out against Stoke, but he was possibly in the squad against his former side. But, yeah, if we could see an Ince start and a nice little goal for the debutant. Whether or not he's going to start or be benched, I think he's definitely in the squad though, Mileta Rajovic, which would be exciting for sure. But it would be nice as well, you know, to get some players back from injury. We know the likes of Jamal Lewis is still injured, so he would be really nice to add to that defence. Because Morris is also apparently a bit of an injury doubt. I think he came off recently in one of the games. So we need a bit of defensive left back and right back cover. We've said that all summer. We haven't really invested in that, but let's hope we can just win this game. 2-0 Watford, come on you Warns. And goal scorers, I think Vacuum Bio will finally get back in the goals after a decent start to the season. And then the second for Watford, Imran Louza, the midfield maestro. Those are my predictions for match week 4 of the EFL Championship. In terms of the minutes of those Watford goal scorers, we'll go for Bio on 55 minutes. I think it'll be a cagey first half, but then it opens up in the second period, with the second for Louza on 76 minutes. Come on, you Warns. Let's really show a bit more bite in the attack, because we have been missing that for the last couple of games, even though the football has been quite good to watch. So we're moving on to my gaffer team just very quickly to show you what my team is looking like ahead of the deadline, which is, of course, 6 o'clock this evening. 2 hours away, but I'm pretty sure I'm locked. So I've got Seny Dieng still in goal. Yes, I know Middlesbrough have not been good defensively, but it's just one of those things, Middlesbrough, you know, I think they should get better eventually, and I don't want to be changing my keeper constantly. And look, West Brom, hopefully that's a good fixture for a clean sheet for Middlesbrough. We'll have to wait and see. Back three, Kiana Hoover, Manning and Mumba. Now, my new transfer this week is Mumba, who's come in for Jamal Lewis, because I just think Lewis is a bit of an injury problem, so he has to come out from my bench. And Mumba has come in from Plymouth. He's got Birmingham City, which is not easy with how Birmingham have done this last couple of games. But I think Mumba is really attacking. For a defender, he can get goals. And he's shown that already at home to Huddersfield this season. So hopefully he gets a goal for me, or a clean sheet would be nice. But QPR, yeah, hopefully that's a clean sheet for Southampton. And then Hoover, we've already seen, got an assist last week against Watford, funnily enough. But also a goal against Rotherham on the opening day for my team. So he's done really well for me. Midfield, though, Tufan, obviously, he's done well. Got me a hat-trick, actually, last week, which was unbelievable. Or was it the week before? That probably was, when he had Sheffield Wednesday at home. But yeah, he's on penalties, great asset. And he's got Bristol City this week. So hopefully on the Friday night football, he can do well. Then Vidigal just scored, obviously, for me last week. Much to my regret. He did against Watford, but that's why he's dangerous. That's why he's in my team. He's just very good right now. Loser against Blackburn hopefully does pop up with a goal. Teller on captaincy. Yeah, it's a tricky one because I'm not too keen on the Watford players for that Blackburn game. I think it won't be as free-flowing as we want. And then it's going to be one of the Southampton boys, I think. QPR defence has been pretty poor. And Armstrong has been decent, but I just fancy Teller for this one. Then Clark against Coventry, not the easiest of fixtures for Sunderland, but hopefully after Clark did get a goal or two recently, he can carry that on. I mean, I think he was my captain last week, and he got 12 points, so wouldn't mind something else like that. And then Bio up front as well against Blackburn, hopefully he does well, and then Armstrong as well against QPR. So yeah, we've got Hazard from Plymouth on the bench, the starting 4.0 keeper. He's just going to sit there because I don't think that I'm going to double up on the Plymouth defence. And then we've got Pring first sub for Bristol City. I think Hull will score in that game. And Rankin Costello, I mean, he's quite attacking as a fullback for Blackburn, but I can't back him against my Watford attackers. It just doesn't make sense. I don't have any Watford defenders, so that's why I had Vidigal last week. And then Rhodes doesn't seem to be playing, but he's just my third bench anyway, so that's fine. Decent. All right, we're locked in. Last week was decent, 73 points, up to a nice overall rank of 524th in the world. We do not mind that at all. And yeah, as I say, Clark did quite well for me, even though he didn't get attack and return, the performance bonus, it's enough for me. So yeah, we had made our transfer of Lewis to Mumba, and we've got no more frees, but we've got a bit of money in the bank for next week. Hope you have enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.